guaranteed. I can't say it any other way.
I don't really think everybody knows what they're about to witness.
I know talent when I see one. I should be an NFL scout.
Jonathan, I don't like that pick. I love that pick. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Door Debate podcast, and welcome to an instant reaction episode that we're going to be doing every single week. So it is currently Sunday, 8 p.m. So the noon games or the 1 o'clock games are over. The 4:30 games are over. And it's right between the lull between the Cowboys-Giants game tonight. And we just needed instant reaction to talk about the games that just happened because we had a lot of great games, including Jonathan. You have a Dolphins jersey on. I got my Chargers jersey on. That was an amazing game, not only by Tua, but by Tyreek Hill, everybody. So we're just going to talk about a bunch of games, kind of be all over the place because we're just fresh in our mind right now. It's still raw, a lot of the stuff going on. But we got Caleb, we got Jonathan. We're going to get right into it. I think the first one, since this game just ended, it's got to be the Chargers and Dolphins. I've been wanting to vent since about 10 minutes ago. But overall, just to kind of get us started here, Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator, I thought was great. I think the offense was fine. I think it was even better than last year because of the rushing game that was so new to us this year. Like, we had 89 yards rushing on average last year, and we had over 200 yards rushing in just this game.
Damn,
so, the Dolphins
crazy.
don't have the greatest rush defense, but in terms of that alone, I think that will save us some games. And I thought I was going to come on here and say that was the reason we won. But unfortunately, Jonathan, Tyreek Hill, and Tua had other plans. Tyreek Hill having the game of his life. I got to pull up the stats because I don't have them right on. But, dude, Tua Tagovailoa, 463 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, 11 receptions, 215 yards.
Wow.
2 touchdowns, including the game-winning touchdown. Jonathan, you're wearing the Dolphins jersey.
That's
Caleb,
right.
you watched the game. It was painful for me to watch, so I'm going to stay quiet and just get my thoughts together. But you guys talk about, from an outside perspective, what this game looked like. It just seemed like a normal freaking Chargers game every single year. This is how it always happens. I've never seen anything in my life so just consistent.
Yeah. This was an exciting game to watch. Honestly, this is probably the best game so far we've had this weekend. This is what the fans want. We want to see high-scoring games like this. And we went to the Chargers and Dolphins game last year expecting this, but it didn't happen. We finally got a treat when we were sitting at home. It's kind of annoying. But, I've said this. The Chargers, yes, they struggled last season in terms of that playoff game against the Jaguars, right? They scored points, but then second half, the offense struggled a little bit. I think that was that one instance. I think the thing with the Chargers is if the offense has any fluke games or if the offense, struggles in any part of the game, then it's going to be tough for them to win the game. Their defense is not good. That's been the issue. I think that's been the issue. I don't think the offense was the issue last year, really, even though they kind of choked during that playoff game last season. I don't think that was the issue. The whole issue was the defense. And who's in charge of that? Coach Staley. I said this in the beginning of the season. Coach Staley is on the hot seat. They have too much talent on defense to be giving up 36 points like this. Yes, we know they have Hill. Yes, we know there's Waddle. Yes, we know Tua's on the team. It's great offense. Okay, fine. But 36 points in the first game, in the debut game? Guys, come on.
At home.
At home. That's uncalled for. They didn't have any second half adjustments. Yes, the offense scored 17 in the first half. Second half, they also scored 17. Great, consistent offense this game. Justin Herbert's a beast. I know that. And even last year, even though people complain about the play calling, they scored points. The defense can't stop a cold, okay? The defense can't stop a cold. And it shows me that Coach Staley's he's not a good coach, okay? The best coaches know how to adjust in the second half. Yes, they could have scored they scored 20 in the first half. The Dolphins did. Find a way to adjust. Do something to stop them. They couldn't do anything. You tell me you can't put 2 or 3 guys on Hill and stop them? Put everybody deep. Don't let them get past you. Do something.
Numerous times, Tyreek Hill zooms by a cornerback, no one over top. No one over top.
Just somebody stay back there. Do something. They didn't do anything. It was so frustrating on the Chargers side. If I was a Chargers fan, I'll be I'll be
I mean,
pretty annoyed.
on
They
the
didn't
one
do
hand, they're
anything.
so fast. It's like a team of track stars, as one of the commentators said. On the other hand, though, that's one thing. But then it's weird. I mean, Jonathan, you might have a point, because my impression of a lot of the teams on across the league have gotten better at protecting against the deep ball or those kind of. They'd rather you kill them underneath, So you guys are
Yeah.
saying I didn't get to watch all the game because the Eagles were playing. Were they letting a lot of them underneath, or were they just not putting the safeties up there?
No, Tyreek Hill would either catch a ball over the middle and run a
Yeah,
bunch of yards,
okay,
or
yeah.
he would just beat the cornerback right off the rip and have a wide open thing. And but what sucks the most is, like what Jonathan said, there were no adjustments. So if they saw Tyreek Hill beat a guy deep, they don't go and say, okay, let's contain him, let's put a safety over top. He does the same exact thing like 2 plays later. There's no adjustments by Staley.
Yeah.
I think for an overall, just like, I'm trying not to overreact. I mean, Tua and Tyreek Hill, one's a generational talent, the other one just had the game of his life, Tua. But it's the same thing, guys. I mean, because I'm a Chargers fan, I vent about it all the time. How does this always happen? They let up the lead with about a minute left, and then Phillip Rivers, Justin Herbert, they get the ball back with about a minute left, and they can't convert and get into field goal range or score a touchdown, and it's always left to the offense. And the defense just like, dang, we let up however many points they had, 36, whatever it was.
36,
like,
yep.
It's the same storyline over and over, no matter what head coach is there, what quarterback is there. And, like, the talent on this defense, Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa are on this team. J.C. Jackson, who had an interception in this game in the end zone, and he ran it out to the 4-yard line. And then we had to punt from our own end zone, and then Tyreek Hill scored. And then J.C. Jackson, before half, gets a pass interference call as time expires in the first half, which gets Dolphins at field goal range. They get 3 points. So just J.C. Jackson alone, who we pay so much money, and Belichick made him look so good in his system, now comes into Staley's system and has lost brain cells and doesn't know how to play the game of football.
Yeah.
I
Even
can't
Derwin James.
believe it. Derwin James,
the highest
don't
paid
even get me
safety.
started.
If he's the highest paid safety, he has to be able to man somebody, right? I mean, he's probably not that elusive.
He
as
can't
Tyreek Hill.
man anybody. He couldn't man anybody, bro. And it frustrates me a lot because they put him on Travis Kelce a lot. And they think that's like, oh, I'm genius, bro. We're going to put Derwin on there. No, he gets ripped every single time, and he gets burnt. So overall, I'm not going to overreact, but it's just frustrating when it's the same old. And I'm talking about the same stuff every single time the Chargers play. I mean, this has been going back since the Phillip Rivers days, and I just can't believe that through all this change, through all these star-studded players, the same outcome happens. It's baffling, but it's also just like laughable. Like, you just have to like sit back. Like, I had no reaction. I was just stone cold, just like, yep, that's it. Like, that's how it happens. So
That's so sad.
I mean, look, the Chargers are one thing. Let's move on to a couple other teams. I know the Eagles played. They had a very close game against the Patriots, but I think for the most part, they were just kind of on autopilot. I don't know what your thoughts are, Caleb, on the Eagles.
No, I didn't feel like it was like
Out
easy
of
win.
hand.
No, I mean, it's like we definitely started off really strong, but it was turnovers. Getting the turnovers is great for the defense. Defensive line showed up. There was movements that was great. I wish it was a little less sloppy because we let them in the game too long, not converting on some thirds. Some of the adjustments we made, I couldn't tell you specifically what, but you could definitely see our offense do better. So I think it's a bit of that Super Bowl hangover, not winning, but just like, I think for me, this confirms that the Eagles are a legit team. They are a good team, and that's even with all the hate about us having an easier schedule, I think we're contenders this year. All things being equal, and then health is but like against the Patriots, I was getting so nervous at the end there. I was on the edge of my seat because it just all the years that you talked about being a Chargers fan, we have Eagles as an organization. It's easy in hindsight to see like, oh, we went to the Super Bowl in 2004, then another one with Foles, and it's like then with the Chiefs recently, it's like. Yes, but between those times, for so many years, especially growing up, there was a lot of like a lot of L's, a lot of times where we'd lose those kinds of games. So like my childhood trauma was coming back. Where it's like, oh please no. And when that fumble happened with Peppers, I was like, oh no, Hurts, please don't. But hey, we've also, it's possible to change your identity. And the Eagles last season would win those games, and thankfully we did. Were you guys watching that game at all? Because there was a point where Mac Jones was converted this 2-point conversion.
Yep.
And then they had to call back for a penalty. And as the referee's announcing it,
he's like, "That's terrible.
That's terrible. That's a terrible call."
Yeah, Mac in the ref's mic.
Yeah, and I'm like,
"That's a terrible call." He rushed it in.
You know what I saw against the Patriots was a little bit of the end, because it was Tom Brady's commencement or whatever at the Patriots stadium, because he never got a proper goodbye, for how much history he made with the Patriots. And I was watching this game and like, man, the energy of Brady is trying to like come back right now, and we got to suppress that, get it out of here. And thankfully,
I saw him in the booth. He was like, he was really trying to work. He's like transferring his powers into Mac Jones.
Yeah,
it just wouldn't work.
And like, fair play to Mac Jones. I didn't start him just because he was playing the Eagles, but I have Ramondre Stevenson, the running back. I was pleased to see
play ball.
That he's a guy. He's definitely
Zeke fumbled the ball. Same old Jonathan.
Yep.
Zeke being Zeke.
Exactly.
Yeah. When Hurts fumbled, I was like, oh no, he fumbled, because the last game he fumbled was in the Chiefs as well.
Yeah.
But then the commentator pointed out he only had 2 fumbles all last season. So I'm like, okay, it's just like you're saying. It's a lot of these things are in some ways too early to tell. I wish the Eagles played more aggressively, more lights out. I think there was a little bit of hesitation in some ways on the offense about not. It's like kind of like that energy of like, oh, we're everyone thinks we're contenders, so this should be a game we win.
Well, you're just trying to not like. I
don't think the Eagles players thought that way, but
like I said in a previous podcast, that middle schedule is brutal, and it's just, you don't want to go all out for the Patriots. You're just not going to do that. Jonathan, do you feel like this is a warning sign for the Eagles?
Yeah, dude. Every single NFL game, regular season game, you're supposed to go all out because nothing's guaranteed. And so, yeah, they're definitely trying their best. And in that, I saw many issues with the Eagles. Let me just say that. Bill Belichick is great he's great at exposing young quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts and showing the weakness and things like that. And we definitely saw Jalen Hurts struggle during this game. He struggled. He just struggled this game, and you saw that affect the entire team. And so this team, New England Patriots, didn't we pick them to be last in their division? The AFC West.
They will. They'll be last. Yeah. They'll be last.
Yeah.
Don't overreact.
And so, I mean, the Eagles, that was a really close game. Patriots easily could have won that. Okay. Mac Jones was going off on the Eagles defense. So I thought this Eagles defense was high and mighty.
Eagles played great, but there were a couple drops with the Patriots. You saw those?
Yeah.
Mac was balling. I give it to him.
Yeah, this should give a lot of opposing offenses that the Eagles are about to face. This should give them confidence, because they're like, wait, I thought this Eagles defense was the real deal and all that.
No, we are the real deal.
This is.
I'm gonna take a play out of your book, Jonathan. I think they were saving plays. I think they're saving plays for the better teams. That's my opinion.
Believe me, they were not saving plays. They were trying their best. If they had lost this game, it would have been embarrassing, and they knew it. They weren't saving any plays. And honestly, with Jalen Hurts, there's only so much you can do.
What do you mean?
He's not the best thrower.
The RPOs work. The run game was impressive on his end, and the throwing, he was balling.
Guys, I should be an NFL scout.
You used to like Hurts.
He has a great team. He has a great.
Yeah, wait. I thought you liked Hurts.
Join.
I like him.
I like him,
but I saw after watching the entire game, I'm like, he's not there yet. He's getting there. He's potential to be one of the best quarterbacks.
He was just in the Super Bowl.
To learn.
He has
a great team. He's a great defense. He's had a great team, great defense, and everything. That definitely helps. In the NFL, I heard a commentator say this: it's a game of possessions. How many possessions are you going to get? That's probably going to determine who's going to win the game. The team that has the most possessions. And so he last year he had a lot of possessions because of the great defense, and so he had many opportunities to try and error, if you will. And so this game, I don't know, something seemed off. And I can tell you he's not all the way there in terms of football IQ from a passing perspective. He's athletic, so he's always going to make.
He's just in the Super Bowl.
It's because of his defense. He had a lot of opportunities. You see what I'm saying?
No.
And so
I'm sorry. For people who might not know about this about you, Jonathan, you are a Cowboys fan, right?
Despite the Dolphins.
And I am a Cowboys fan, but I also like Jalen Hurts generally. He's
Like as a
he's been
person,
quarterback.
like I respect Dak
Yeah,
as a person.
Yeah, but I just think I saw a lot of
As a
issues.
person.
I saw a lot of issues, and believe me, that doesn't look like a team that's going to win the NFC East. I'm telling you now.
Well,
I mean, just off if they played how they played today,
then I would have liked.
yeah, overall they played sloppy. There's no getting around it. But was it on purpose? I personally think yes. I think it was just.
You think they played sloppy on purpose?
I think it was just a relaxed game.
I don't think
try.
These
Let's
are pros.
just
Dude, every single player.
Let's try not to get hurt.
Dude, every single player in the game is always trying to play their best. You know why? They can be replaced like this. Their job can be lost like this.
Not
Millions are
Jalen
at
Hurts.
stake.
Do you know who the backup is for the Eagles? Marcus Mariota. He ain't coming in.
Why don't you just ask Carson Wentz? Anything could happen. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't see Nick Foles.
don't take anything for granted.
Mariota.
Do not take anything for granted. There's a lot of great quarterbacks coming from the draft. Let's hold up in here. Caleb Williams is there. Shador Sanders could be. See what I'm saying? Anything could happen. Riley Leonard.
It's very well. We'll see. It is week 1, so
yeah, it's week 1.
Overall, it's better to do this after a win, Caleb.
I know. I was going to come with. I was still going to show up like I told you guys in the pre-recording, but this would have been a much different energy.
And they have a huge running back. Sorry guys, but they have a huge running game issue. They don't have an identity in terms of.
Why did you drop Gainwell? He had a great game.
You
dropped him in fantasy.
I was about to say Gainwell
15
game plan wise,
54 yards.
Even play.
If you get less than 100 yards as a running back, that's not good.
Well, he received too.
I know, like he was definitely like the guy. Like we didn't see talking about saving plays. I'm not saying that. I think the Eagles. I think you do try. I mean, obviously, but I think. If I had to rank the running backs, Gainwell's been in the system longer, so that might give him some advantages. But like Swift, probably talent wise, we didn't get to see lot of the run game.
I wonder if eventually they'll do like next game they'll be like, all right, let's try Swift as the main back.
Yeah, just kind of like hot potato. Like, oh, you're the running back. That's a good system for committee because that way you don't have to give everyone like an equal percentage.
I wouldn't be surprised if they went all out for Kareem Hunt because I don't think they have a good running back right now. To be honest, with you. That's probably the issue.
Kareem. We've partnered back up with Manscaped to give you guys 20% off and free shipping on all their items. That includes the Beard Hedger and all their below-the-waist grooming products. We all know how injuries can ruin a season, so let Manscaped protect that Reggie Bush of yours with their skin-safe technology. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have created a championship lineup with their Performance Package 4.0. And it's time for you to do the same. Join the 9 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for kickoff by going to manscaped.com and getting 20% off and free shipping when you use the code DORMDebate. Let's talk about Kareem's old team, the Cleveland Browns. How about them, Jonathan? You called it. Deshaun Watson shocks the world, 24-3, I think. The Bengals looked
terrible.
Pitiful. Dude,
who could have thought? I had Chase, and then I didn't get Jefferson, and then Jefferson, of course. For you, Jared, is so well.
Chase only 3 or 4 receptions.
I know you got 9. You got 9 or 10 points, which is serviceable.
Look, that whole offense looked terrible. I'm gonna say a couple things, Jonathan, before you go off on them.
Okay.
Look. It was a little rainy. You gotta remember that. It was a little rainy.
Oh boy.
The ball's wet. They're a pass first team.
That was a big part.
It's tough, and that's a game that the Browns should win and do win. Those rough games where the weather's tough and you got to run the ball and you got to hit somebody and you got to put a helmet on a helmet. Nick Chubb performed. Deshaun Watson played okay. Wasn't amazing, but he was better than Joe Burrow. I'm going to say it. That whole Browns team played better than Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals at the end of the day. And I'm not going to say it's a big concern for the Bengals because if you remember last year, they started 0-2. Started 0-2, they go and win the division. So it's pretty common for them to start off slow. But to not score a touchdown, for T. Higgins to not have a catch on the whole day. Not one catch.
He got targeted a few times, but it was
he did get targeted.
It was incredible.
Times. Yeah, they were draped over him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Chase.
Chase was. I think he had 3 or 4 receptions.
He still did okay. Just.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, Jonathan, you called it. Is this a confidence booster for you thinking about the Cleveland Browns from here on out? And are you going to say that the Bengals, this is what you thought they were?
Yeah, I mean, the first point, this is definitely a confidence booster for the Browns defense. I mean, the Bengals offense is supposed to be one of the greats in the NFL, right? And so you just shut them down to 3 points and made their offense look silly. Yeah, that's a huge confidence booster. That means you can essentially stop anybody in the AFC. But guys, what made Michael Jordan great is that every single game, I'm like I was alive and remembered his reign. But what made Michael Jordan great was every single game he brought it. He brought his best, and people saw a show every single game. He didn't really have too much.
Are you comparing Joe Burrow to Michael Jordan?
But I'm saying what makes Patrick Mahomes is great. When's the last time you saw him do a game like this, where he just craps the bed and doesn't play that well and all that?
Are you comparing Joe Burrow to Patrick?
It's pretty close.
Mahomes?
I'm saying there shouldn't be any comparison at this point. At this point, it's undisputed. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback right now. Don't you ever say Joe Burrow is better than Patrick Mahomes. I don't want to ever hear anybody say that again. After this game, Patrick Mahomes would never do something like this. Less than 100 yards passing, that's embarrassing. This guy's supposed to be one of the greats. This guy's supposed to take his team to the Super Bowl. Less than 100 yards? That's sad. And hey, maybe the Browns defense is that good, but if you're telling me that Joe Burrow is probably, some people say he's better than Patrick Mahomes, he's about to be better than Patrick Mahomes. This game proves he's not. Because Patrick Mahomes, every single game, even though they lose, he still brings it. The Super Bowl against the Bucs, where they lost by a good amount of points, we could all tell that he still was the best player on the field, but they lost. That's what makes them great. Joe Burrow is not. Don't ever compare Joe Burrow to Patrick Mahomes. What was that? Brady.
That's a little too far,
Brady,
Jonathan.
The Bucs won that because of the defense. Brady knows that's why Brady.
It's because they had Brady.
No, they won it because of the defense,
dude.
Caleb. I always go back and watch that game that lost. But my point is this:
we got to see Jordan versus the heir apparent at his peak, and Jordan, aka Brady. As much as I hate Brady, I mean, you got to.
It's a team game. They won that game because of the defense. Patrick Mahomes was the best. He won MVP that season as well. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes was the best player on the field, and we all saw it. Everybody
go back to the Bengals. So for this loss, you think this is going to continue? You don't think they can turn this around?
They can obviously turn this thing around, but I'm just talking to the people that try to compare Joe Burrow to Patrick Mahomes. Let's not do that again. Just like y'all try to do Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, and last year we all saw there's no comparison.
Like this,
let's stop doing that. That's all I'm saying.
Their next game, their next game is the Baltimore Ravens, your division winner. Baltimore Ravens won today. They beat somebody. They beat Texans.
Yeah, that was your lock too, Jared.
That was my lock. Yeah, I was more upset about my upset.
I know.
Happening.
There's so many games. It's exciting, but hard to keep track sometimes.
Yeah, but I think obviously it's just the first game. The Bengals, they could turn things around, but
this is who you thought they were. This is who you thought.
You don't hate the Bengals the way you hate the Bills, or say that the Bills are who you thought. Like you're just making a statement to the comments who dislike how much you like Mahomes. And we're comparing him to Burrow, right? Like you're not a personal vendetta against the Bengals specifically, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying, not even this is unbiased. I just think Patrick Mahomes is probably the greatest quarterback right now, and we shouldn't compare him to other guys like Joe Burrow or Josh Allen or anything. Let's stop doing that. This conversation ended today. That's all I'm saying.
Give you.
Because Patrick Mahomes wouldn't have this game.
For right now, what other quarterback has 2 Super Bowls playing right now? Because so many of the veterans are gone now. This is the first year, I think, since I saw an Instagram post. It's the first year since 99 or 97 that there's no, what was it, Manning, Roethlisberger, Breeze, Rivers. I think and there was maybe another one, but that's almost a quarter of the whole league that had franchise quarterbacks for 20 years, which is incredible. So this is the first year that the new, there's not many. Yeah, I mean, Mahomes is already top tier with there's only been 15 or so. There's something or a dozen or quarterbacks ever to even get 2. So it's amazing that he's been to 3
in a span of 6 years or something.
Even then, it's
it's been.
Even then, but just even quarterbacks period F2, it's incredible. So
and Deshaun Watson he did outplay Joe Burrow, just for the record.
Yeah, I hated how well he did. I'm not a fan. I think of Watson
Burrow might have
the
been
Browns, but
he might have been. He might have been one of the worst quarterbacks on the day.
He was.
I don't know if John was on here. He'd probably say, he's still injured.
We were talking about the injury that he had. Remember, we were if he's out there, how much the injury is going to affect him, and it looks like it did. He was hitting it on the not hitting it, but he was I think maybe dealing with that on the sidelines as well as the weather. I mean, if you guys watched the game, the weather was a pretty, I guess, impactful. Like I had receivers,
It was misting like the whole day, but obviously that impacts the Bengals game more because they're all passing.
Yeah,
but
they
I
probably
think
need passing more.
What is emphasized in these sort of games is their inability to run the ball with Joe Mixon. And Joe Mixon is known to be a top back, but yet again, like after last year, the year before that, I know Caleb, you've mentioned this a lot with them just not being able to find a running game that's consistent game after game. I mean, Mixon only rushed for 56 yards, and then the second best was Chris Evans. Shout out to Chris, only 12 yards rushing.
Yeah,
I mean, for a game that you're rushing most of the time, 13 carries, that's only 4 yards per carry, which is okay. But for Joe Mixon, that's not okay. That you need star power. You need Nick Chubb, he went off for 18 carries, 106 yards, average 6 yards per carry. So that's that star running back that you need, and that Joe Mixon is perceived as, and yet game after game they can never find a consistent run game, which hurts the passing indirectly.
Yeah, it limits what you can do when you can't play action or anything like that. I think part of it is, I mean, we've known for years, and they've improved it substantially, but you get to see a little the difference between a really great offensive. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, my computer just went asleep. It's back on. With the Browns, you got to see a really great offensive line, and then the Bengals. I think a lot of it comes down to them being a good offensive line, but still, I think Joe Burrow saw the pocket collapse a little bit, got sacked. He's already dealing with the injury. I mean, like Jonathan said, these are team games as much as we'd like to put it onto one quarterback, and a quarterback is the most important position, but I think Mixon is that guy. I think he could put up Eckler-like numbers, but one is that the offensive lines aren't equal, and the Browns. But the second is kind of why it was in the Browns' favor and why it wasn't for the Bengals, and why they probably start off slow. Is their identity as a team is not necessarily, you think, high running offense. Like they have Chase, they have Higgins, I think Boyd as well. Like they have good receiving weapons, and that's great. And they can run the ball. They have that option to Mixon, but it's not their identity. I think in part because the O-line, in part because they just don't. They're not known to do that. Not that you have to, but if you're gonna do that, and Burrow's not a running mobile quarterback like Hurts, but I'm bringing up Hurts because the Eagles do have like a committee backfield. I don't think you should want Mixon to be like your Eckler or Henry or your one guy like a Chubb. Play with both, play with a couple, but make sure that's your identity. Whereas I feel like the Bengals, that doesn't work, so then they're only passing it because the Burrow is pretty good, but then you're cornered into that position, that's your identity, and you can limit your options that way. So I think they just got, I don't think it's doom time, but
no,
I don't. I certainly wish they had done a little better.
It's just it's time and time again. These games kind of remind us of, the Bengals have those glaring issues that are going to keep them from,
reaching that
over
next
the
level.
hump.
Well, then the opposite with the Browns. The Browns have quietly, as terrible as the organization. For like not even big decisions, but small decisions, they've slowly been amassing a really great defense. And for all the haters, and I would count myself there, but Deshaun Watson's a legit quarterback. So do you see him shake off a lot of the rust? I think you saw that in that game too. So Browns might have to be accepted as real contenders this year. But again, any of these games is too early to call.
Too early. Another game, Jonathan, you actually had them in your lock. Vikings Buccaneers. Vikings just absolute collapse at home. I can't really make any sense of it. Can you?
Yeah, I can't really either. I mean, Vikings have games like this. I didn't expect it to be like the first game. Like they did something similar against the Giants, except they got whooped this game. They made a lot of mistakes, but yet still were managed to keep it close. And look, I mean, Baker Mayfield, I'm not going to lie, he proved me wrong in a sense. Like he's able to be clutch at the end and get his team over that hump. And so like most of the battle in the NFL is just winning those close games like that, and he was able to do it today. So kudos to Baker Mayfield and the Bucs. But the Vikings have to fix some issues. I mean, because Justin Jefferson had a killer, exceptional first half. In the second half, I think he just had 12 yards for 2 catches or something like that. And so he was pretty frustrated on the bench at the end of the game. Receivers like that get frustrated when they don't get the ball and they lose. If they win and they don't get the ball that much, they don't care too much. But if you lose and you know that you could have made a huge difference, that's annoying. He probably wanted more targets because he probably would have caught it, right? So he was frustrated. Kudos to Jordan Addison. No, I didn't start him, but I have him on fantasy. He played exceptionally well.
First touchdown. Yeah.
First touchdown. Yep. And so it was Jordan Addison. He's one of the receivers. He's a rookie receiver.
Yeah.
And so he had a good game. So I don't know if it's a rushing issue for the Vikings. Maybe they needed a good running back, but like it didn't look too pretty. Kirk Cousins struggled here and there. The pocket collapsed often. The offense didn't look as explosive as they did early last season when we were like, okay, this team is one to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and I think for me, this is what I feel like the season will be: a bunch of close games, and it's going to be up to luck to try and win these games. And last year, they won those close games. 11 out of their 13 wins. They won them. The year before that, they lost all the one-score games.
The Vikings.
And so the Vikings.
Yeah,
this is the land. This is their limbo that they're in right now. You have, we're always in these games, but we don't have, the play calling, maybe the rush game. I don't know what it is that they're missing. Obviously, their defense is always just never going to get the stop at the right time. They couldn't even stop Baker Mayfield. So we know we're chalking up that defense, but it's going to come down to Kirk Cousins playing like Kirk Thuggins, like last year.
Got to channel that energy,
You got to channel that energy, and he had one interception. I think they had 2 or 3 fumbles, not just Kirk, but the whole team. So 3 turnovers, and even if you're facing the Bucs, that's going to hurt you. That's going to hurt you in the end because your defense, if you turn the ball over 3 times, I guarantee you they'll score on those 3 times because your defense sucks. So I think that's going to hurt them if Kirk keeps playing like this. And Jefferson not getting in the end zone, that can't happen. How do you have that many receptions, that many yards, but yet when you get into the red zone, you can't score a touchdown with him? That seems a little odd to me.
This is why I think Coach Todd Bowles, right? This is why I think he's better than average. He's a pretty good coach.
I thought you said he sucked.
Yeah, but I didn't say. Did I say he sucked?
I don't know. Roll the tape.
I mean, I needed time. I probably needed time to see him after Tom Brady left. So now Tom Brady's gone. I can tell you how he has a good defense and stuff. But I can tell he's a good coach. You know why? Justin Jefferson had a great first half, but he was able to adjust and call the right schemes and lock him down the second half, where Kirk Cousins was afraid to throw it to him for some reason. The reason why they won so much close games last year, you know who we found at the end of the games, like towards the end of the games, you know who Kirk Cousins found? Justin Jefferson. And so he was nowhere to be found towards the end of the game. Kirk Cousins was afraid to throw to him for whatever reason, meaning that maybe the defense was double teaming him or putting many people around him or something. Whatever the Bucs did, it worked. And you got to credit Todd Bowles for that. So
yeah, it's possible. As good as these receivers are, and it's really hard not to discount abilities of the receivers or the cornerbacks, but like I bring it up, it's possible because Jefferson's the number 1 projected fantasy receiver and he did phenomenal. But I remember against the Eagles last year, he was held to maybe like 7 yards one game.
He got
it's
locked up.
Every player can be, and anyone can have a bad day, But I don't know. On the one hand, I didn't watch the parts of the game. If there's a bright spot as a not if I'm a Vikings fan, which I'm not, I think we talked about last year that there's a correlation between Kirk's interceptions going up and the more games winning. Like if he's a riskier ball thrower versus the conservative like dink and dunk kind of style that he has it in him to do some spectacular things. So him taking some risks, if that's how that specific interception went down, then there's hope there, I think.
And now you got Jordan Love coming in. I don't know if you guys watched that game, but I completely I was shocked, speechless, as you can tell. I thought the Bears in Chicago were going to dominate the Packers, and this was going to be that culture change, that alternate universe change of, holy cow, the Bears are going to dominate the Packers for years to come with Justin Fields. And it just, not only did it not happen, but it felt like Aaron Rodgers was playing. It felt like there was no change. It felt like a normal Packers-Bears game that was, domination.
They still own.
It was like a gap. They still own them.
So
a
disrespectful.
gap in talent. Jordan Love
Dude,
played amazing. Aaron Jones, difference maker. Caleb?
Well, it's like we said in the podcast on Thursday. Like, I don't think any of us were like down on Love, but on Jordan Love, but we just hadn't seen a sample size enough, and for them to come out and win in that way, with the collection of teams. Because one of the criticisms with Rodgers was like, oh, you don't have any great. It's just Watson, and Watson's legit, but like they were saying, he was elevating the receiving core to see them do well. Yeah, it's a team game. On the one hand, part of me is like, oh, do the not overreaction thought, not my position. Did they find another franchise quarterback who just sat in the back?
Please.
People forget
Brett,
Mahomes was behind
Aaron,
Smith for a few years too. So it's like, that's not a crazy method to let these guys do it. So I'm like, but I mean, against the Bears, that's pretty big.
And they didn't even have Christian Watson. They didn't even have Christian Watson.
Right. Yeah, right, yeah.
Romeo Doubs had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones maybe had 2 or 1. I mean, just the talent. The talent is way better than the Bears. And I think what the difference between Jordan Love and Justin Fields is Jordan Love had that sense of patience and calmness in the pocket and knowing that, okay, if things go wrong, I'm dumping it to Aaron. I'm dumping it to A.J. Dillon. But Justin Fields, it just felt like he's jittery. He's like, I gotta win this game. Like, it's all on me. I gotta win it. And he's got to relax and know that he has talented receivers, he has talented running backs that he can rely on sometimes. He doesn't have to run it when the pocket collapses. He doesn't keep his eyes downfield. And so he always had that just like uncomfortableness in the pocket. And it's got to switch at some point, and I think it'll only switch when they have a confidence-boosting game. I thought it was going to be the Packers, but I think it's going to be a ways down the road now for the Bears.
Yeah, and Jared, I'm glad you agree with me now that Justin Fields is not there yet. People are overhyping him.
I'm glad. I mean, I tried to root for Ohio State quarterback. It didn't work, so I'm not doing it ever again.
Yeah, people have been hyping Justin Fields left and right ever since last year. I'm like, wait, this guy hasn't really done anything. I don't see him as that next franchise quarterback for the Bears. Again, I really believe I should be an NFL scout because I can tell you, this guy's
check that
not
off
there
your
yet.
bingo card for anyone listening to Jordan Debate. He said he should be an NFL scout. Check that off the bingo card.
Yeah, no, this guy, I don't know if he still has to develop more. Like, Jared, what you said makes sense. He always feels like he has to rush and be the hero and stuff. There's something wrong. Yeah, hero ball. This is not sustainable for the Bears franchise. So they either need to, tank for another quarterback or something because this is not looking good.
Again,
yeah.
It's not even guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing guaranteed. You're right.
They shouldn't. No.
But no, I think Jordan Love and the Packers did look good, but maybe let's see a couple more games because I don't know if the Bears are just that bad.
Yeah,
maybe the Bears are just that bad where they score 38 points. But I mean,
it's a good start for Love.
It's a good start. It's a good start for sure.
I think I'm still I need more of a sample size. Again, first week, you can't say good or bad, but there's just like storylines that help the confidence. Like, you're talking about confidence, Jared. Like, if I had to rank it of the 3 we've mentioned in this conversation so far of teams that would like for so long would just almost win or just be so like sometimes some teams aren't great at putting it away. They get better at it over time, but you need a statement game, and sometimes those games come. I would have ranked it Lions being the worst, then the Chargers, then the Vikings of just in my memory, not statistically, but just like teams that are always like, oh, they're good enough to just almost
You're waiting
be great.
for that. You're waiting for that statement win, and
a statement win or the ball to bounce your way, like you said, a little bit of luck. With the Lions win again, it's not a definitive thing, but talking about it, it's like against the Chiefs, winning game 1 was a big statement, good confidence booster going forward. It's huge for the Lions. Mm-hmm. Not as bad at injury for the Chiefs, but like kind of like that. I think the Lions now with that win have a trajectory that can go really higher. Whereas the Vikings against the Bucs, I mean, Baker was playing for his career, his livelihood, and fair play because I think he has those flashes of brilliance. But sorry, I'm watching the Cowboys game.
One thing though, like who Justin Fields reminded me of while I was watching him today?
Who?
Jeff Sims. You know who that is, Jared?
I have no idea. I've heard of him.
Related to Chris?
No, the quarterback of the college. Sorry, I'm comparing him to a college quarterback. The quarterback yesterday.
Alabama. No, Jeff
Nebraska.
Sims.
That guy. That
Oh God, I
the
hate
ball.
that guy.
Like he was just running the ball and stuff. He couldn't pass it and stuff. That's who Justin Fields reminded me of. Honestly, they looked similar, other than the turnovers.
I think he has to like. I think this is the year where Like you were saying, like he has to prove it, or they'll move on or start thinking about moving on.
He's a fantasy quarterback at the end of the day with his rushing ability. Another fantasy quarterback, Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson had a great game overall. I said it was an impressive performance. He had a late interception that kind of sealed the deal for the Jags. But overall, very impressed. I think he had a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown. But overall, he commanded the game, and I feel had the best rookie quarterback performance of anybody. Did you watch that game, Jonathan?
I watched a little bit of it. And so, yeah, I mean, I saw some flashes of greatness. And I thought they could really win it. But
it was close.
It was close. Yeah. So, I mean, it was good. I mean, I think he's far ahead of what a lot of people thought. You know, I think he's still developing. He's still becoming smarter in football. And for crying out loud, this is like his 14th or 15th actual start at quarterback ever since Florida, right?
It's crazy.
Wow.
So, I think I'm pleased with his performance, and hopefully he continues to progress as the season goes along. But I think I'm proud because I think he's far ahead than what at least I expected. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised by the stat line. I watched a little bit of the game because I had I had Ridley on my bench, and I regretted it now. But I was keeping an eye on the progressions. It was cool that it was a close game to the end, but I was impressed by at least the stat line of Richardson because, like you said, I wasn't. I think Jonathan, you were really bullish on him, and then John was very bearish. But I'm like, I think I was more in the middle. Like I just haven't seen him, but for him to come out his first game against a good Jags team that I think are dark horse contenders this year, I think that's a great. I think confidence is the one thing quarterbacks entering the league need, and if he has that and is able to execute with it, that's a great start. So impressive stat line. Not that it says everything, but I was pleasantly surprised that he did better than I would have thought a rookie could do.
And against many say the favorite to win the AFC South,
right?
To put up a fight like that, just as a whole, as
with
a Colts team, is shocking to me. But Ridley only had like one target or one reception in the second half. Same thing with Justin Jefferson. It's like they had such great first halves, and why do you change the game plan away from your stars? It makes
it's
no
opposing
sense.
coaches. Those are good opposing coaches. Now to stop them. Yeah, exactly. That's why. Coach Staley's not good. That's probably the only game where they couldn't stop the top guy.
We're getting shrapnel.
It's unheard of.
Yeah, I know. Overall, Anthony Richardson actually was it the last play or second to last play of the game? He got a hit to the thigh, so he's like questionable. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll wrap this one up. This is our instant reaction episode. We're going to be doing this every single week. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are so close to 4,000 subscribers. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you're a fan on TikTok and on Instagram and you watch all that stuff and you're not following, shame on you. Hit that follow button. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. It helps us out a ton. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys on Thursday.